Hi, this is Kevin Trainer, and welcome to my tutorial for the tutorial for the tutorial. Here we're doing the Django Girls tutorial, and these are kind of the instructions and some pointers about how to do it. I'm going to do this in two parts, I've decided, so this is part one. So here in the spring of 2018, we're doing the Django Girls tutorial in week 2. So let's just take a look at that on the schedule. Okay. And so we've got a coding assignment due, the Django Girls tutorial. And we're going to do pretty much all of it. Let's go to the Django Girls tutorial page. So we're going to click through on that link. And because we're using Safari, we're coming to, let me shrink this a bit so we can see some more of the page. We're coming to a very readable page. Okay. We've got sort of a table of contents over here on the left, which I really like. And we got a bunch of pages on the right, and we're on the first of the pages. Okay, introduction, then installation, then installation for a Chromebook, how the internet works, if you don't already know about that, introduction to working at the command line, if you're going to work at the command line. I'm going to show you a point or two about how you might be able to do this with PyCharm. Python installation, code editor. Okay. Again, I'm kind of a guy who works with an IDE, so I work with PyCharm. Introduction to Python. What is Django? Django installation. Your first Django project. So we're going to get started. Django models. Okay, this is the data portion of Django. Django admin. This is a really nice feature of Django that will allow us to set up access control without having to do a lot of programming ourselves. And this is part of one of the modules that's already built into Django. And deploy. Okay. We're actually going to be testing this on our own machine for a long time, but when we get to deploy, we're going to see how we can deploy this on sort of an internet service provider that's very highly specialized for Python and Python apps. It's called Python Anywhere. And that part is what I'm going to put into part 2. Okay, so we're going to deploy. We're going to do some work with the URLs. We're going to do some work with the views. And on down through this. We finish up with some forms, and so that's the last part, the forms. Okay, and the very last part is this: what's next? They kind of tell you about what you can do, and there's a link to the extensions. Now we're going to do that in the following week. That's another assignment altogether. Okay, now I just want to point out that we get this interesting combination of this table of contents on the left and the pages on the right, but I don't seem to be able to make this work in other browsers other than Safari. And perhaps it's my browser disability, I don't know. But I'm going to close this, and I'm going to crank up, let's just say Chrome, okay? So let's crank up Chrome. And let's get this a little closer to what we want. And I'm going to go to my home page so I can find my course info site. Okay, and I'm going to find my way to the schedule for this class. Okay, we're on week 2, and let's shrink that up a little bit. Okay, and where are we? We're at the Django Girls tutorial page. And I just want to point out that it comes up, and we don't have that really nice table of contents. Okay? But we do have something I didn't call a lot of attention to before. We do have these go to the next page links. So this is the introduction page. Click on the link. If you're doing the tutorial at home, yeah, we certainly are. So we're talking about installation. Okay. And then we're talking about setup for a Chromebook. I hope you're not using a Chromebook. How the internet works to help you kind of see the big picture that this fits into. This may be right out your level of expertise, or perhaps already below it. This is an introduction to working at the command line. As I said before, I didn't actually do mine at the command line. I used PyCharm. We're installing Python here. And then they're talking about picking an editor. Again, I like PyCharm. But you can follow this to the letter, okay? If you want to use everything that they recommend, if you want to work at the command line, do all that stuff, go right ahead. I mean, it works for their tutorial attendees, their workshop attendees. I'm sure it'll work for you, especially if you're already good with these tools. Okay. Little bit of introduction to Python. Little bit of introduction to Django. Then the next page is Django installation. Here they have you working with a virtual env. Okay, and virtual env creates virtual environments for Python. These are the same things that under Anaconda are called. They're still called virtual environments, but they're called envs, ENV. And this is just another product. Are they closely related? Yeah, they may all be based on the same open source stuff, but the details are slightly different. Okay. So again, you can use the virtual env stuff here if you want, or you can kind of do it more my way with the envs that come with Anaconda. Okay. Installing Django, the whole bit, and now we start working on the project. Okay, and so I just want to point out here that you can page your way through this using these icons. What happened to that table of contents? Is that a Mac only feature? Is that something I could click on here and see? Oh yeah, oh great. I clicked on a little icon over here and I got it. And now I click on this little icon here and it went away. All right. So maybe that's true everywhere, and I'm just an old geezer. Whatever. All right. So I'm going to take a look at this with the thing here. Okay, good. So let's back up from here. Oh, this is a lot of pages away. So I'm going to go back. I'm going to go back to our schedule and find our way down to week 2 again. Okay, week 2. First of all, Django Girls. If you want to know about the Django Girls organization, I have a link under other resources to their website. So fire that up. They're really great people doing great work. Okay, and who knows? Maybe we'll have our own Django Girls workshop at SOAS one of these days, and have people in from the community more generally. If you guys are interested, well, maybe we could do it. Okay. Here's one of those workshop events that they're going to do in Tulsa. If you looked at the list of events on their website, you'll see they really are literally all over the world. The Tulsa one is going to be in March at the Tulsa Library. And this is a hell of a movement. This is a lot of fun. You guys might want to get a piece of this. Okay, and then the Django Girls tutorial page is on the Django Girls website. Well, as is the announcement for the Tulsa workshop. But I've given you individualized links. Okay? So, you can either use the tool set that they show in the tutorial, or maybe you could use the tool set that I favor, which is the PyCharm. So I'm going to show you this using PyCharm a little bit. If I can find my cursor, perhaps. There it is. PyCharm. So I did mine with PyCharm. And I tried to do it with PyCharm completely. So I went off the script a number of times. And I'll try to point you to some of the challenges. So here I fired up PyCharm. Most recently, I've had the Django Girls project up. That's what I called it. Okay. And mine, I started by creating a Django project in PyCharm. Okay. Rather than doing it at the command line in according to the tutorial. Was that good? Well, it was good and bad. Because I did it my way, I think I got a slightly different structure to my directories. Okay? And I'm not thinking right now of exactly why. Here, we've got to look at this. But this is my Django Girls project. Could you simply copy mine? Well, you could. Could you copy theirs? Well, you could. Would you be keeping within the spirit of the assignment? Well, definitely no. Why is that? We want you to type this stuff in. That's the way people learn. Okay? We're going to do that on the PyCharm, on the Django Girls tutorials. We're probably not going to have you doing the typing in on the extended tutorial that's in the Unleashed book. Maybe we'll type in a few there, but that I can tell you firsthand, that's a lot of typing. So we're going to have you copying those pretty readily, although you can do all the typing that you'd like to do there instead of copying. But here it's really important that you do the typing. So this is the way my project looked at the end. Okay? And let me try to close some stuff down here. Well, here's what I've got. So I've got the project here. Here are some things that you're going to come to recognize. We're going to learn how to create models. So here's the Python for models. There's no model in that part of the project. There is models in the blog part of the project. So we go to models here. We're going to find our data model. Okay. We're going to find templates. So here are some templates that are part of the project that you're going to build. Okay. We're going to have some views. Okay. We're going to have some URL configurators, which are called urls.py. We're going to have things that look like this. And we're going to have a lot of other things. Okay, so what's kind of interesting here is within your project, you'll see just about everything's a Python file except for the templates. Okay. What else? So here we should be able to do the code. Now, at a certain point in the tutorial, they have you run the development server. Okay? And it turns out that the development server is part of a program called Manage Py. Okay? In fact, this is the development server. This is our relational database, db.sqlite3. Okay, so it's all within our directory structure. So they tell you the command line commands you can use to run the development server, or you can go up to the command line and go to Tools, and then we can say we want to run the manage.py task. Okay, and manage.py has a number of commands that we're going to learn how to use. One of them is to run the server. Another one is to do a migration of the database. A third one that we're going to use is to create super user. But we can simply type in here, run server. And you can see we get some help here. And the default port is 8000. So we're just going to press return. And then we're going to have to press it again. And if we watch a little bit, we'll see that it started up the development server. Now we call this the development server because it has extra features for development, and also it doesn't have all the robustness of a production server. We'll talk about production servers later in the course. Okay? So once you start the server, then you can use the link here to open a page, and you'll see that at this point I'm at the end of my development of the tutorial. I have a blog here, the Django Girls blog, and it's fully functional. Pretty cool, huh? Okay, so I'll show you that a little bit later. Okay, now if you go back to PyCharm, okay, you'll see down at the bottom of the text in the log from the server that if you want to quit the server, you can quit it with the Control-C. Well, I'm going to be interested in what you guys are able to do, because I don't have a lot of luck with that on my Mac. I hit Control-C, I'm doing it right now, all day long, and it keeps going. Well, that's not really that much of a problem, because you don't have to stop the server every time you change the code. One of the reasons that it's a development server is it will restart the server every time you save code within the project. So generally speaking, if you start up the server and then you just keep running things, you keep changing files. When you go to open up the code again on the server, you're opening up the new version. So the fact that you can't turn this off easily is not the end of the world. Okay. Now, how can you turn it off? Well, the only way I know to reliably turn it off is to go up and say you want to close a PyCharm, and then on the Mac where I am now, you'll get the dialog box say, well, what do you want to open? And then you say, no, I really want to close. And as soon as you do, you often will get a thing that says, oh, I've got something running. Do you want to disconnect from it or terminate it? And that's the server. You can stop it by saying, I want to terminate it. Now, unfortunately, that didn't happen this time. It doesn't seem to happen every time. So let's crank up PyCharm again. And now we're going to take a look at Django Girls, the project. Going to click on that. And it's going to open it up right where it was. And I'm going to close the tip. And if you look down along the bottom, we've got a bunch of things, but we don't see that. Managed up Py console. So let's go up to Tools again and say run the manage.py task, and it'll run. And if we say run server again, it may say, oh, it's already running. Let's look. Run server. No, it had stopped it, so it started up again. So actually bringing down PyCharm, I think, is the easiest way to do this. Now, when you're in here, you sometimes want to do some things at the command line. And if you click on terminal here, now, how do you open that up? Well, you go down the bottom left, and you get the pop-up, and you say, oh, I want to go to the terminal. So you go to that, and as you can see, it's currently using the Django Girls env that I put together with Anaconda 3. Okay, and if I say that I want to see what's in the directory, so I can say ls. You can see that I actually am in the directory for the Django Girls project, and these are all the things that are in it. And these are, of course, all the things that we see over here in this navigation panel. So we could, for instance, we could say something like conda list and get a list of all the packages that are currently installed in that environment, because it's just a command line. So it's a command line that's available inside of PyCharm, and it has the benefit that it should already be in your proper env, proper environment, and it should already be in the directory for the project. Now, if you have a project and you need to hook it up with a proper environment, you can go up to the overall menu and click on PyCharm Preferences and go to the project interpreter. And as you can see here, I really am on, well, in this case, I'm in Python 3.6.3, so I've got an old version of this, but I put this together, I think, in the fall. Okay, but I am in the proper env for Django Girls. And of course, if I wanted to use another env, I could go out here and do add local, all the things that we learned about when we learned how to install Anaconda and how to install PyCharm, right? So I'm going to cancel out of this. The other thing you can do is you can do version control from right inside of PyCharm. Okay, so there's a tab down here along the bottom where you can say you want to go to version control, and among things you can go to log. You can see all the changes that have been made. Okay. Things that one can do with the version control is that one can go up to VCS, version control system. Okay. And you can say, for instance, you want the VCS operations pop up. Okay, and from there, if you want to do a commit, you can click on commit and you'll get the dialog for commit. Now we haven't changed any files. The changed files are here. We changed the workspace file, I guess. Okay, so we could commit that. You can commit all you want. You can go up here again. You can say, go to the VCS operations pop-up. And you can say you want to push the changes to the remote repository. And you can say you want to push. And I think it was already up to date. Everything is up to date. So I didn't push anything. Okay, so you can, if you want, do a lot of the work that the tutorial shows going on at the command line. You can do it in PyCharm. Do you have to? No. Okay. Did I learn it all in a day? No. Okay. I learned it over a number of weeks. But you have that option. You can try it out. I find that I now know enough about how to do this in PyCharm that I'll see things that are to be done at the command line and I'll do them in here instead. So let's take a look at what your application should look like when it's done. Okay? So let's do that. Okay. So let's go to this Manage Py with Django Girls. And I'll go down here because I can steal the link. So I steal the link. You'll see I'm at the Django Girls blog. And I have a plus here. I have a plus. The plus is a very crude part of the user interface where we want to say that we want to add a post to the blog. Okay? Well, is that always available? No, it turns out it's not. Okay, so let's go into the admin interface. And let's say, let's log out. Okay, so in this initial Django Girls tutorial, we don't really build most of the access control and authentication into the application. We kind of draft off of capabilities in the admin package. Okay, so we're doing our signing in through the admin package. So let's go back to the application itself, which is at 127.001 or localhost on port 8000. And you'll see now that we don't have the plus. Okay, so what do we have here? Well, we have a blog. These are posts. So I've added a lot of posts over the life of this thing. Sample title, blog post 5, hello Django Girls. I have one where I say hello to my granddaughter. Hello, Audrey from Django Girls. Hello, Audrey. We are the Django Girls, and we can't wait for you to join us at one of our one-day tutorials. See you soon. She's probably a little bit young for their demographic, I'm thinking, being just 7 months old today. Welcome to course name. That's what I'm going to add when I finally own something. I'm going to say welcome to, and then I'll put the name of our course. Okay? And can you do anything to these? Well, you can click on them, and then you can go down and you can see the detail. But so far the detail is just the text that's part of the post. What if you want to go back? Well, you can hit the back button. Or if you want to go back to the main page, you can click on the title up in the header. That'll take you back there. Okay, so again, if we go down to the Audrey post, we're going to see that. Okay, nothing really to be done there. So you say, well, Kevin, that's fun, but I'd like to be able to add a post. And I say, well, you have to be able to log in first. And in this first version that we do in tutorial 1, the way that we log in is we go to admin, we go up to the URL, and we type in /admin. Okay. And I will say that I think that you ought to, when you create your user, you ought to give it a name that's easy to remember, because when you can't remember it, it's just a frustration. And the same for the password. So here's what I use. I use test user, all one word. And because we're working at SOAS, the password that I use is lowercase SOAS secret. And then we log in. This is essentially logging us in as a super user. Okay? Now, is that good form? No, that's not good form. This is just a crude way to allow us to log in when we haven't gone through all the authentication and access control stuff. So we're piggybacking on the capabilities in the Django admin package. Okay? So once we do that, then we can go back to the application itself, and we're going to do this in a pretty crude way. We're just going to get rid of that part of the URL that's taking us to admin. And we go back, and here we can see, oh yeah, we can add. So let's add a post. Okay. And I'm going to say, welcome to INFOST 691. And then in the text, I'll say, welcome to INFOST 691. I am really excited about having all of you in this course. You will have your own site like this very soon. Best wishes, Kevin. And we're going to click on save. Okay. And at this point, we're not only able to save it, but we're able to edit it. So when we get to the end of the tutorial, we'll have an edit button. Your site like this by the end of this week, and save that. And that's it. So how do we get back to the main page? Well, again, if we haven't done too much stuff, we could use the back button. But right now, the best way to navigate is to go up to the header and click on the name of the blog. And then we're back up there, and it should have added it at the end. Okay, so that's it. And again, I recommend that you use a standard name for the user and a standard password, because your biggest risk is that you'll forget them. Okay? It's not the end of the world if you forget them, but that's it. So this is the functionality that you should have by the end of the week when you've got the tutorial going. In addition, in part 2 of this, I'm going to show you how we're going to deploy this, not on our test server on our own machine, but on a production server at Python Anywhere. And just to give you, I'm not going to do that recording until tomorrow, but just to give you a preview, if I go to trainerk.pythonanywhere.com, you're going to get to the Django Girls blog before it has any content in it at all. So this is out on the internet. Okay. And I've got a free account. I opened it today. It's good for 3 months. We can extend them. We'll be able to keep them until the end of the course. It's a cute little freebie production application server that we can use for either things like this, little you're able to have one project that you're able to expose without having to get a paid version. And so what we're going to do is we're going to expose a series of them. We're going to use those to deploy all of our assignments as a way of handing them in. But that's in part 2. Okay? So this ought to keep you real busy. I'm going to say now, there's a lot of work here. Okay? This, when they run it as a when they run it as a workshop for newbies, is either 1 or 2 days, depending upon who's running it. So you can expect to work on this, I don't know, maybe 8 hours in the first week. So get at it, okay? Don't wait till Saturday morning before you start. You really want to get at this Monday night, okay? And just get started. There'll be a lot of turns and twists. There'll be problems. There'll be opportunities. But it can all be done, and it's very rewarding. So if you leave enough time, you'll be able to do it, I promise. And I'm around to help. I'll be around for online office hours. I can schedule other sessions if we need them. This is a lot of fun. I don't mind helping. And so get started and have some fun. So having made that invitation, I'm going to say bye until next time. Bye-bye.